Have you ever looked at the world and felt like you were living in a completely different reality from someone else? Do you remember that dress? The one that broke the internet? Was it blue and black or white and gold? The whole world argued. The same photo, the same screen, yet we saw two completely different things. That wasn't just an internet joke. It was a crack in the illusion we live by, the illusion that our eyes are like a camera, objectively recording the world exactly as it is. Think about those endless arguments with your partner. When you're 100% certain you remember something one way, and they remember it completely differently, think of that tired feeling when you try to explain your point of view to a colleague, but it seems like they just can't see what you see. We aren't just disagreeing. We are literally living in different perceptual worlds, and in that gap between them, loneliness, conflict, and suffering are born. So what if I told you that even when you're sitting alone in a room, you aren't seeing reality directly? Modern neuroscience is making a stunning discovery. Leading scientists like Anil Seth call our brain a prediction machine. It doesn't passively receive information from our eyes and ears. Instead, it actively creates our reality. Based on all of your past experiences, memories, and beliefs, your brain makes a prediction about what's out there. Then, it uses the raw data from your senses only to refine that prediction. What you experience as reality is actually your brain's best guess. In other words, we are all living in a kind of controlled hallucination. This might sound alarming, but it is also the key to our freedom, because if our mind creates our experience, it means we have the power to change it. And here is the incredible part. 2,500 years ago, long before brain scanners, a master explorer of the human mind described this exact phenomenon. He didn't just describe it. He laid out a clear path to see through these illusions, to soothe the suffering they cause, and to experience a peace that is profound and true. His name was the Buddha, and in this video today we will walk that path together. We will explore the 4 great misperceptions that shape your life, and learn how to begin to see clearly, perhaps for the very first time. Let's start with the foundation of all distorted perception, a truth that might completely change how you see this problem. Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill? You work so hard to build a life you love, to find happiness, but somehow peace feels fragile and satisfaction is always temporary. The Buddha taught that this isn't a personal failure. It's a universal condition, born from 4 profound misunderstandings about the nature of reality. 4 great mistakes that silently rule our lives and keep us trapped. Let's, with courage and gentleness, look at these mistakes together, not to judge ourselves, but to finally set ourselves free. The first mistake is perhaps the most heartbreaking. We see what is fleeting and believe it will last forever. In the Buddha's language, this is ignoring the truth of impermanence. Everything from our bodies, our emotions, our relationships, to our social status is in a constant state of flux. Suffering isn't born from change itself, but from our resistance to it. Imagine building a magnificent sandcastle on the shore. You pour your heart into it, decorating it with your hopes and dreams. But the tide of time, by its very nature, will always come in. And when the sandcastle dissolves, we suffer. We feel robbed, as if something has gone wrong. But nothing went wrong. The waves weren't the enemy. The sandcastle was never meant to be permanent. The only mistake was our belief that it would last forever. The second mistake is more subtle. We chase things that promise lasting happiness, but in reality can only offer temporary relief. This is the mistake of seeing what is inherently unsatisfying, or dukkha, as a source of ultimate pleasure. Dukkha isn't just obvious pain. It's also a subtle, pervasive sense of dissatisfaction that hums beneath fleeting pleasures. Imagine being desperately thirsty in a desert and you find a source of salt water. For a brief moment, the coolness is a relief. But very quickly, the salt makes you even thirstier than before. This is the nature of so many of our pursuits. The thrill of a new purchase, the validation from social media, the escape in entertainment. They are all sips of salt water. The third mistake is the deepest, the architect of our most profound anxieties. We take this ever-changing stream of thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations, and we build a solid, fixed entity called me. This is ignoring the truth of not self, or anatta. Not self doesn't mean you don't exist. It means you don't exist as a separate, unchanging self. Like a river, you aren't a static thing, but a dynamic, ever-new process. Think about a time someone criticized your opinion. How did it feel? For most of us, it feels like a personal attack. We defend that opinion as if we're defending our very life. We think, they are attacking me. Suffering is the friction between this fluid reality and our rigid idea of who we are. Finally, the fourth mistake is seeing the unattractive or impure as beautiful and pure. This isn't a judgment about the world or our bodies. It's about being captivated by the surface, by the packaging, while ignoring the reality underneath. In our modern world, this is the illusion of the curated life online. We scroll through images of perfect careers, perfect relationships, and then feel that our own behind-the-scenes life is lacking. These four mistakes, clinging to the impermanent, chasing fleeting pleasures, defending a fictional self, and being seduced by surfaces, are the deep patterns that create our suffering. But recognizing them is the first step to freedom. And now, a deeper question arises. What is the fuel? What is the engine that keeps these mistakes running, day after day? The answer lies in something we experience every single moment. Our feelings. Have you ever wondered about this? Why do some words pass by like a gentle breeze, while others get stuck in our hearts, causing pain for days, for hours? The external event is only part of the story. The secret isn't in the event itself, but in a silent process that happens inside of us every millisecond. A process called feeling. This is the invisible engine, the fuel that runs our machine of suffering. The Buddha made a revolutionary discovery. Our suffering isn't truly created by what happens to us. It's created by how we blindly react to the feelings that those events trigger. Every time our senses make contact with the world, the mind immediately tastes the experience and gives it one of three labels: pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. This process is incredibly fast, happening even before we have time to think. And it is from this taste that the entire loop of suffering begins. To understand this, imagine the metaphor of a hook and bait. Our life is like an ocean, and we are fish swimming freely. The bait is any external object, a compliment, a criticism. When we make contact with the bait, a feeling immediately arises. A compliment brings a pleasant feeling. A criticism brings an unpleasant feeling. This is just the tasting phase. At this stage, we are still completely free. The next moment is decisive. Based on the taste of the feeling, an automatic reaction is triggered. With a pleasant feeling, the mind says, "Wonderful! I want more of this." This is craving. With an unpleasant feeling, the mind says, "Horrible! I want this to go away." This is aversion. This moment is when the fish bites down hard on the bait. From that bite, craving turns into clinging and attachment. Our peace is now tied to the bait. We suffer when the praise stops. We obsess over the criticism. The fish is completely hooked, so what can we do? The path of awakening isn't about trying to destroy all feelings. The path is to learn how to taste the bait without biting the hook. The next time you experience something, try to pause for just a beat. Before you react, ask yourself, what is the feeling inside me right now? Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Simply acknowledge it gently in your mind. This simple act of recognition creates a precious, golden pause between the feeling and the reaction. In that pause, we reclaim our power. We see that we are not the feeling. We are the one observing the feeling. This isn't avoidance. It's facing reality with wisdom. And as we repeat this action, we are step by step untangling the fishing lines that have bound us for so long to find our way back to true freedom. We've seen the illusions that cloud the mind and the engine of feeling that runs the loop of suffering. You might feel a little overwhelmed, as if we are victims of these automatic psychological processes. But the Buddha taught that even in the storm of unconscious reactions, there is always a place to find our power. That power isn't in controlling the outside world. It lies in one place and one place only, in the intention behind every action, word, and thought. This is the turning point. In the space between a stimulus and our action, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. The difference between a life of suffering and a life of freedom lies entirely in this choice, the choice between reaction and response. In Buddhism, intention is called satana. The Buddha once said something profound. It is intention that I call karma. This means that karma isn't some predetermined fate. It is the quality of the intention we cultivate in each moment. Our automatic, blind reactions are driven by our old habits, our mental conditioning from the past. But through mindfulness, we can shine the light of awareness on this conditioning and actively choose a new intention, one based on wisdom and compassion. Imagine the story of two employees, Alex and Ben. They are both harshly criticized by their boss in a meeting. The stimulus is the same, but their intentions create two completely different outcomes. When Alex hears the criticism, an unpleasant feeling erupts. Instantly, he bites the hook. The familiar thought loop begins. This is so unfair. My boss is targeting me. Driven by the intention of anger and self-pity, Alex stays silent in the meeting but carries that negative energy home. He is irritable with his family, loses sleep, and goes to work the next day in a heavy mood. The loop of suffering tightens. Ben also feels the sting of an unpleasant feeling, but through practice, he creates a golden pause. In that moment, instead of biting the hook, he simply notes, there is an unpleasant feeling. He doesn't identify with it. In that pause, he chooses a new intention, the intention to understand and resolve the issue. After the meeting, he calmly approaches his boss and says, I understand you weren't satisfied. Could you give me some specific feedback so I can do better? This action, born from a clear intention, transforms a tense situation into a chance to learn and connect. Every day, in every interaction, we stand before this choice. Choosing a wholesome intention in our daily words and actions is the practice of sila, or ethical conduct. Sila isn't about restrictive rules. It's the practice of protecting our own mind from agitation. Imagine your mind as a garden. A life based on wholesome intentions helps to clear the weeds, making the soil smooth and fertile. That fertile soil is a settled mind. And when the mind is settled, when the soil is ready, that is when we can plant the seed of wisdom. So what if the Buddha was, in a sense, one of the world's first great psychologists? Today, labs across the world are proving his insights. Science calls the brain a prediction machine, constantly generating reality based on old patterns. The Buddha called this sankhara, the mental habits that shape how we experience the world. Both arrive at the same stunning conclusion. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as our mind has been conditioned to see it. The great Scottish philosopher David Hume tried to find a solid self inside of him. After careful examination, he concluded that there was no commander in charge. All he found was a constant stream of thoughts, feelings, and sensations. A bundle of perceptions, as he called it. Without ever reading Buddhist scriptures, he arrived at a conclusion very close to the wisdom of not-self, anatta. This convergence gives us a powerful confidence. It shows that the path we are exploring isn't based on blind faith, but on a deep understanding of the human mind, an understanding that is now being validated by our most modern tools. We've talked a lot about theory. Now let's get practical. How do we actually start to see clearly? Mindfulness is not about clearing your mind or stopping your thoughts. That's an impossible goal that only creates more stress. Mindfulness, simply put, is about changing your relationship with your thoughts. Instead of being swept away in the river of your thinking, you learn to sit on the bank and watch the river flow by. The foundation of this practice is incredibly simple. One day, a man named Bahia came to the Buddha and asked for the core teaching. The Buddha said, "In the seeing, there will be only the seeing. In the hearing, only the hearing. In the sensing, only the sensing. In the cognizing, only the cognizing." This isn't poetry. It is a precise instruction. It means to experience the world directly before the mind has time to label, judge, and spin stories. Let's try it right now. Wherever you are, find one object around you. A cup, a plant, a spot of light on the wall. For 3 breaths, try to see it as if you've never seen it before. Don't name it, just see. See its colors, its shape, the way the light interacts with its surface. That's it. That brief moment, that moment of direct experience unfiltered by language, is mindfulness. It's a moment of truth. And as we string more of these moments together, our picture of reality begins to change. Mindfulness is the flashlight. Insight is what the light reveals, and what it reveals can set you free. Beyond just being present, the deeper purpose of this practice is to witness for yourself. Not from a book, the 3 fundamental truths of existence. In Buddhism, they are called the 3 marks: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and not-self. Through patient observation of your mind, you begin to feel that everything is changing. You see that clinging to temporary pleasures always contains the seed of dissatisfaction. And most importantly, you begin to see that there is no solid me in charge of everything. Thoughts are just thoughts. Emotions just come and go. This understanding isn't a dry intellectual knowledge. It's a direct experience that liberates the mind from the burden of defending a self that was never really there. So how do we cultivate this insight in our busy daily lives? Here are 3 simple exercises you can start today. First, the mindful pause. 3 times a day, maybe before a meal or when you sit down at your desk, just stop. Simply take 3 deep, full breaths. During those 3 breaths, ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? You don't need to change it, just know it. Second, gentle labeling. When a strong emotion arises, anger, anxiety, sadness, instead of being swept away by it, try to gently name it in your head. Ah, this is anger. Or, anxiety is present. This act of naming is like seeing a cloud in the sky instead of being lost in the fog. It creates a little bit of space, and in that space, there is freedom. Third, question your certainty. The next time you're 100% sure about something, especially about the intentions or actions of another person, just pause. Ask yourself one simple question. Is it possible I'm not seeing the full picture? This practice softens the grip of our own opinions and opens the door to understanding and compassion. The journey we have taken together from recognizing the illusion of perception to understanding the engine of our suffering and practicing how to see clearly is not about becoming a different person. It's about removing the filters, the stories, the wounds that are preventing you from seeing the wonderful person who is already there. And here is the most beautiful part. The final result of seeing clearly is not indifference or detachment. It's the exact opposite. When you see through the illusion of a separate, solid self, the walls you've built between me and others begin to thin. You realize that the people around you are also trapped in their own misperceptions, also driven by their feelings, also longing for happiness and wanting to be free from suffering, just like you. From that understanding, compassion arises naturally without effort. When the self becomes transparent, connection becomes real. Your practice doesn't have to be an hour on a cushion. This week, just choose one thing. Practice the mindful pause every day. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to our channel. Buddhism Wisdom, Spirituality, and share it with someone you think might need to hear this today. May you be peaceful. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering.